Research also shows that the last 10 years have, on average, been the hottest 10 years ever recorded since 1850. Greenhouse gases. Industrialization, deforestation, and pollution have greatly increased atmospheric concentrations of water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide. These greenhouse gases trap heat near the Earth's surface. 1,000 tons of carbon dioxide alone per second into the atmosphere, primarily a result of burning fossil fuels. The US currently emits more greenhouse gases than any other nation, but China will soon pass the US as the worst greenhouse gas emitter. China plans to build about 1 coal-fired electrical power plant per week over the next 10 years. Greenhouse gases persist in the atmosphere for years. The researchers agree that even if such emissions were completely eliminated today, it would not immediately stop global warming. Rising sea levels. The Arctic regions of the world are where we are seeing the most dramatic effects of global warming. Average temperatures in Alaska, Western Canada, and Eastern Russia have risen at twice the global average. Arctic ice is rapidly disappearing, and the region may have its first completely ice-free summer by 2040 or earlier. Polar bears and indigenous cultures are already suffering from the radical changes that have started taking place in their environment. Glaciers and ice shelves are rapidly melting. Glacier National Park in the United States had 150 glaciers in 1910. Today, only 27 glaciers are left. Over 100 million people live within 3 feet of the world's average sea level, and much of the world's population is concentrated in vulnerable coastal cities. Millions of those people will be directly threatened by floods due to rising sea levels, with island inhabitants and populations in large river delta regions most at risk. Sea level could rise between 7 and 23 inches by the end of this century. A rise of just 4 inches could flood many islands in the southern hemisphere and large parts of continental Southeast Asia. Natural disaster. There were 337 natural disasters reported in 2003, up from 261 in 1990. Natural disaster affected 254 million people in 2006, nearly 3 times as many people as were affected by natural disasters in 1990. Many experts believe that the recent surge in the amount of natural disaster and extreme weather events such as wildfire, heat waves, and strong tropical storms can all be attributed in part to climate change. Strong hurricanes, droughts, heat waves, forest fires, and other natural disasters may become commonplace in many parts of the world. The growth of the deserts may also cause food shortages in many places. Researchers report that both heat waves and the intense rain event have increased in both intensity and frequency during the last 50 years. Higher rates of climate-related illness, including malnutrition, malaria, dengue fever, and heat strokes, are expected to take effect as global warming continues. Species extinctions. Researchers point out that in addition to global warming's effect on human life, continued warming could have catastrophic effects on wildlife. More than 1 million species face extinction from disappearance habitat, changing ecosystems and acidifying oceans. 1/4 to 1/3 of the world's plant and animal species will vanish if global temperature continue to rise as predicted in the next 50 years. Now, this is the preamble. This is what is happening, and I have tried to summarize from many reports so that you understand, and those who do not follow this issue on daily basis, what is happening and what is that problem and what we are facing. Now, let me now give you some of the verses of the Holy Quran. Number one, the Holy Quran, and as I said in the very beginning, in 7th century Arabia, talks of this pollution. Now, at 1400 years ago, nobody could ever think of problems of pollution. And this is something very strange. I quote from chapter 30, verse 42. Corruption has appeared on land and seas because of what men's hands have wrought, that he may make them taste the fruit of some of their doings, so that they may turn back from evil. The word for corruption is fasad. Zahar al-fasado fil barri wal bahr. This means that pollution, corruption will take place in the oceans. Prophet Muhammad never been to an ocean. He did not have any clue what was going on. There was no concept of pollution. There were no toxicants. There was no greenhouse gases. There was no fossil fuel being burned. At that time, the Holy Quran makes this prophecy that this will happen. Pollution and corruption will take place in the oceans and on the earth. Secondly, the interesting thing is, it says that this will not be because of some climate changes. It will be because human hand has corrupted them. And interestingly, a recent report which was printed